Hello, welcome everyone. This is Dr. Lariat. This is SMES, where you watch the best in classic pro wrestling. I'm gonna do a little bit of AKs. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet because this is the Legend Killer Randy Otop. This is Big Match Gian Sinagang. This is the man with the flan. And it's boss time. It's WrestleMania season. I know, like, nowadays that's not something that people are so hyped up about, especially those folks at ESPN. Hey guys. But I have a couple of guests here, and I'd be remiss because I'm always, I was raised with manners. My grandma, well, and my mom always smacked me on the head. So, and my dad too. So, I'm gonna introduce the very special guest on this show, uh, Sam Schipman from Wrestling Inc. You could also hear on Power Bombshells on Fight Game Media. Welcome, Matt. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be back.
Yeah. Also joining us is members of the Polypod, members of Podcast Without Borders. My partner in State of Wrestling, Arturo, American
Hey,
Numbers.
aquí estamos, listos para ver estas luchas. So, hi everybody. My
Yeah.
gimmick to like do the Spanish intro, but I have to do it, right?
Yes, sir. And also, man, oh God, don't make me do a Tagalog intro. And we have, I will. Um, Ako ang Dr. Lariat. Ang dito sa okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop right there. So
No.
also with us is Matt
Baka.
Dawson from from Deathmatch Royalty from Harvest Podcast Network. My other tag team partner. We are this is a good quartet of people here because we're talking one of like the transformative matches over this century. Okay, I'm saying it because this is a program that was big for women's wrestling. Yeah, and I'm saying women's wrestling in general, and I'm saying also in wrestling in general because what we're talking about here is one of the first times that women are given the respect and given the spotlight that they deserve for WrestleMania. We are of course talking for the WWE Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair defend. Well, I mean, I don't know if she's really defending, but she is coming in as the
No,
Divas champion.
this is
Yeah, she had the Divas Championship, but this was to crown the very first
Yeah,
WWE Women's Champion.
yeah,
yes.
yeah. And we have her defending, or I guess competing with, of course, Becky Lynch. And it's so hard to go back to calling her this, but Sasha Banks, the boss. And this was a match that I was excited about for the entire year. There was a whole, the whole big push was the women's revolution. Some women got pushes. We also had this was coming off after Total Divas had debuted. My wife absolutely loved watching that show, unbeknownst to me. And we are, it was a whole big thing. And I'd be remiss to say, I think a lot of us were hoping that this would hit. And I'm going to say, like, for my purposes, even though it's a spoiler alert, I think these women hit it out the park. What say you guys?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that like the build was there and it was unique and it was something that hadn't happened in W. Like, it's kind of unfair. Like historically, WWE kind of tends to forget that women's wrestling is kind of a big part of how they got there because they always forget about the Cyndi Lauper, Wendy Richter, and Moolah program. Which like I was there. I'm old enough to remember that. And the big program was the Richter program, right? Like remember, like Saturday Night Main Event on MTV, the big program was them. And there were reasons why that kind of fell out later, which I don't think had anything to do with Wendy. It has more to do with how like WWE does business and the people they have around that. But she, that drew and drew money. They had people like Bull Nakano and Alundra Braze and like really good wrestlers later. But I think like again, the company wasn't prepared mentally for it. And I think this is good in the sense that like they had both the talent and the place for it, right? And but again, as you're saying, it was important that we had somebody, and I'm a person who argues for Mercedes as one of the great workers of all time because she just every match I always feel like she gets the best out of everyone she's working with, and it's really kind of I mean, everyone else in this match does a really good job, but I'm always so impressed by Mercedes in any scenario like this, right? Because she always
Yeah,
hits.
For sure.
yeah, yeah, and like we talked. I was talking about earlier about the women's revolution, all these promos that they were cutting. Besides the promos, these three were putting in work in developmental in NXT. That was a big part of me, and I know a lot of people signing in for the network was to watch those NXTs, watch the takeovers, see these women get used in a way that was different from the mainline programs on SmackDown and Raw, where they weren't just like oh this is they're fighting over a guy, oh this is over pettiness and like whatever. No, these women were competing to be champion,
Oh, that
and that was the whole
I
story.
I forget who was the. They were talking about one of the women's wrestlers, and I looked up, and I believe 80% of her matches were bronze Montes variation. And one of the
Yo.
old, like I was like looking, and there it's like one of the and I was like, people don't know how bad it was. People who like were there, like
It's awful.
it's really kind of. I can't explain 2004. WWE.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like politely.
Rough.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
It's put it mildly.
as Ruben
mean-
Stoddard says, saying, sorry for 2004.
Yes, exactly. That's perfect thought.
I mean, this is the thing. You don't- how do I put this? WWF at the time, when you had moments like the Wendy Richter Cyndi Lauper stuff that basically kicked off the rock and wrestling era, then you had moments like the Jumping Bomb Angels coming in against the Glamour Girls. Then you had the whole people like Paul Nakano and Aja Kong coming in to do great matches. And then you had moments like getting someone and turning them into Bertha Faye, whose gimmick was, oh, she was fat and it's hilarious, and we'll make Harvey Whippleman fall in love with her because he's a giant loser. And then you get the whole Attitude Era, and a lot of stuff from that era has not aged well at all.
Mm-mm.
Then you have
Oh,
the
God.
era like Arturo just mentioned of 2004. While in contrast, you have basically got places like Shimmer and places like IWA Mid South and doing stuff like the Volcano Girls show.
TNA Impact.
Yep.
Let's talk about TNA. Okay,
Yeah.
to quote Chick Willie, let's talk about it. TNA Impact. I know my impressions is getting worse. But TNA Impact, like with the knockouts, they were already having these sort of like matches, and a lot of times with former WWE champions, WWE wrestlers like Gail Kim, like Tara Victoria, such as who.
Awesome Kong was a big part of that division.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
we're
also
we're
Gail
they were having these knockdown drag out fights on TV,
Yeah.
and they were the draws. Like
They
And-
were for a really, I guess I would say for a large chunk of time. I think like some of the best stuff that TNA was putting out was the Knockouts division and their X division were
Yeah.
two of the highlights, and that was what drew me in all of the time. And it's really sad to see how the Knockouts division is. I've only seen a little bit of it because it's not a product I currently keep up with, but seeing like what that Knockouts division used to be to what it's become now is really sad.
yeah,
I think some of that is, in essence, is part of the era because I do think that it was much better than everything else that was on American TV, but it wasn't to the level of some of the stuff that we see elsewhere. And I think one of the important things about this match is that it's really kind of a signal that the level of worker, right, the level of training, the level of work that's coming from American female workers is starting to pick up. It's starting to get to the level where they can, because I mean, it's a two-sided coin. I mentioned the Wendy Richter thing, and part of the issue has been before is like WWE is unwilling to put a roster around somebody who's good, that's good enough to like book matches. Because if you look at the people that Wendy was working, it's like it's kind of sad. It's Moolah's girls, and they weren't great, right? So, but it's not on her. You need kind of this, and I think that like they start to pull in like the really good Yoshis and start pull in like better training, start investing on putting some roster around that. And I think that was kind of the key. There was the willingness to build a roster and go in because again, this is not where it's failed before. To me, it's been this situation where like they haven't been willing to put the work in to get like a roster together.
Right.
And I think that like the greatest thing about this era, right? Not just the great workers, it's that we've gotten to a point now where there's a critical mass of workers, right? Whereas like, you know, it's, to use the example in AEW, I didn't think AEW had a roster in 2019 where they could like have regular good programs, right, on TV. I don't think they had that. Whereas now, to me, it's the most entertaining part of like the show a lot of the time, where I like because they have this deep roster, they have talent, they can bring in people, and they have like different programs they can do because they have the quality of work. They can hold 3 or 4 segments a show, right, without like a drop off from like anything else. And that, I mean, that takes work and that takes an investment. I think that's the thing. Like, I think the key to this has been like we reached the point where the companies decided, hey, let's invest in this and actually build a homegrown operation that can actually deliver these matches regularly, right? Like, we don't have to import talent.
Yeah, definitely. I also believe like the 2019 AEW women's roster was unfairly compared to the WWE roster at the time, who, you know, they were coming off of Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Ronda Rousey main eventing WrestleMania. And like there's just there's a talent discrepancy there, but you know, over time it sort of evens out as people like move around, as we have turnover in pro wrestling, which I think is good.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think to be given credit, there's people who were on that roster who I never thought would amount to anything in terms of like TV work. Who actually no, they've become competent TV workers. I mean, Anna Jay or like Penelope Ford are people who have significantly improved from what they were. So I think that like that's something where we now have this ecosystem where you can bring in people and they can get to the point, like you can bring them the women, give them the reps, and get them to the point where they can work drawing programs on TV, right? That's not a pathway that really existed in America, in the American environment like 20 years ago for reasons, many reasons. But it's great that we have that now. Now we can get to this and have these sort of programs of like really money drawing programs that people want to see, right? That's great.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to throw in Red Velvet into that because she's been one of my favorite performers over like the last year from her work in CMLL and Ring of Honor and even on AEW TV. That match those 2 matches with Mercedes were wow. Yeah. And you know, I'm going to go back a little bit and like give some people their kudos, okay? Because we talked around them about like, you know, Asia Kong and Alundra Braze. Asia Kong was supposed to work a bigger program, but you know, Alundra Braze and Bull Nakano, they helped sell out that Egg Dome card, the legendary All Japan Women in the Egg Dome card. They were one of the big matches there that helped sell that dome out. And you know, there was some wrestlers like I named some of them like Victoria, Trish Stratus, Lita. They were very over. They were beloved by the crowd, beloved by a lot of people. But like there was so many degrading things done to them. We saw that the real shitty way that Lita got written out of the story, where you know Prime Time was going around selling her underwear.
Piggy James.
Oh my
Mickey
God.
James called it Piggy James. You know, we saw Trish Stratus walk around and bark like a dog in front of that disgusting piece of crap human being that I don't want to say the name of.
Just to give a context from a UK perspective. That segment we didn't get to see until years later when the network came over, because Sky Sports cut it out entirely out the show when they showed Raw.
Unfortunately, we saw it.
Unfortunately, we saw that. Like
I've seen it since, and it's just like, how the fuck did they get away with this?
Yeah.
Like, at all.
One of my pet peeves. I get into the Hall of Fame stuff, and I know people like bitch about Trish Stratus making the Hall of Fame ballot, and I defend it because I respect the hell out of her, because I think she in an impossible situation did so much, and I mean she made the best of it, and she improved significantly, and she is now, I mean, like, she has I can anything but respect, and I think without her it is a much tougher road to hoe to get to where we are. I think that it's important. Again, I don't necessarily think she's a Hall of Famer, but I think she's more than deserving to have a conversation about her contribution to like the industry.
Yeah. I absolutely, when I was a kid, I loved Trish Stratus.
Yeah,
because
she was when especially when we went from everything else that was. I mean, yes, they did have some of course, the you know terrible stuff they were doing with like the dog bark, having to bark
Yeah.
like a dog and all that stuff. But in the in-ring stuff, compared to what a lot of the in-ring stuff we were getting for other women, to have Trish and Lita, who were actually going out there and they were not they were actually having competitive matches at a time when that wasn't happening
I
anymore.
mean,
I
they
think
main evented Raw. There
right,
was
yeah,
exactly.
the
Yes.
cage
And
match.
so I feel like I feel like she definitely deserves her flowers, and I would say that she is Hall of Fame worthy because of what she
Yeah.
and Lita were able to do in a time where in women's wrestling and especially in WWE's women's wrestling and how they were
Yeah.
doing things. I think that they absolutely are worthy of a Hall of Fame spot, especially because
Yeah.
you can make whatever things about the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is like it's not a building that you can go to. It exists
It's
on
a piece of
paper
paper.
essentially, and you get to add WWE Hall of Fame when they bring you out.
Yeah.
When they need a ratings pop and they rely on the nostalgia, or they're in Canada and they need
Or they're
they
in
need to get the
Saudi.
nostalgia pop. They'll bring you out there, and so
Yeah.
but yeah, and I think somebody that we've not brought up in this discussion that I think definitely needs to be brought up is China.
Yes.
I feel
Yeah.
One
like
of the most mistreated women, and one of the, gosh, like her whole contribution to pro wrestling has like just been erased just because of like her fall, and like when you see
it's
like
been
why she fell.
I would say
Ugh,
the more correct reason of the reason it's been erased is because of Paula Beck and Stephanie McMahon.
yeah, yeah.
They're the driving force behind it.
We could talk all day about the people that Paul Levesque tried to erase their legacies.
Right.
And like I China as a kid, China was different. She was someone that popped off the screen.
She was
Like
incredible.
she was like such a legit threat that like you bought her like beating up Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like
I mean,
like let's
the first time you see her on screen, she is literally choking Marlena out.
yeah
Yeah,
ragdolling her. Yeah.
right.
But yeah, so we're now like just to bring us here in this time period. It's WrestleMania 32. They're in Jerry World. Um, we're off to the races because it's 2 years of the WWE Network, and they were hyping this up as the biggest crowd of all time for a wrestling event.
Yeah.
Although North Korea still holds the record. Let's be clear about that.
I mean, it's been kind of debunked that like it's probably either. I mean, it's three or or one of the Wembley shows.
Yeah.
But because of
This was like
the
80,000 or
we're
something.
we're gonna get into like a deep numbers talk that like really is not. But I mean, yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
crowd. It's a big crowd.
Yeah, it's a big crowd. It's a loud crowd. It's WrestleMania. This felt like a big WrestleMania program. It felt like a WrestleMania moment before a moment. Like there was the part of the countdown show, right, where they revealed the new women's title, and
Yeah.
they did the whole the UFC thing where the women's title is just a copy of the men's belt, and so like there's no like distinction between that. And also we are talking about the time when they got rid of the diva moniker, and women
Well,
were
I
no
mean,
longer called divas; they were called WWE superstars also.
the whole Divas thing. So they had the women's title to 2010, then it was retired. Then they brought it back as the butterfly belt, the Divas belt. Like it's
Yeah.
the big pink that, and which was that. But brought it back in around I think it was 2008 is when they brought that one in. And this was more like of a serious rebrand, and I think they like. I mean, the way it kind of worked. They were before this. They were like it was the AJ Lee kind of page, AJ Lee page, the Bellas era, right? I think Michelle McCool was still around too, and so it's
Yeah.
like a little bit. I mean, it was more serious, but still less serious, right? It's a little bit. Actually, like the way to kind of think about it, it's like when it's like really. It was like really more like cartoony Joshi, right? In a way. Where it's like it's still kind of it was more like silly kind of like DDT kind of Joshi basically, and so this had been going on coming up for like really they did the NXT stuff which again I mentioned Dusty was part of that. Like they brought up this class. Finley's another one I should mention, and Peppermint, like where like they're treating this a lot more seriously, bringing a lot like of talent. They're bringing people like Asuka, who wrote the whole manifesto on how the women should work in Japan. Really interesting kind of. So they basically have been deepening and making this a lot more serious. And some of this is being driven by like things that are happening, like Ronda Rousey getting over in UFC. They would say that, but really it's because they decided like let's treat this more seriously, make it a thing. And really it did start to get over. And so, but
Yeah.
one of the big parts that Bayley, we got to mention Bayley, who people were mad at the time, and I was one of them, that she should have been one of the people in this match.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was going to talk about that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Bayley, people forget that Bayley really was one of the big drawing faces for WWE
Yes.
for that period. It was like really her and Joe were the people drawing NXT. Her and Joe were the people kind of like moving, and I say Joe because Joe was the guy moving merch too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the news was like his shirt got released like the day of when he debuted on NXT, and it was sold out.
They had a contract where he could work the indies, and they tore that up immediately. They were
Well,
like,
this is the thing, though. I have the last two pieces of WWE merchandise I had is because of NXT, and that's
Yeah.
the Finn Balor shirt with the demon thing on the front, and the Samoa Joe shirt that you've just mentioned.
if people haven't seen the Bayley Sasha match in a while, right?
NXT Brooklyn.
It's a match I go back and watch every few years. It's one of those things where I go like, it can't be as good as I remember, and I go watch that match, and I'm like, man, this match is as good as I remember.
When Bayley hits that poison Rana,
it is one of the easiest fives I've ever given.
Yeah.
The crowd is insane. The building is insane. And again, the thing with Sasha, and I say Sasha is a master of crowd manipulation. She's one of the best I've ever seen at like getting the reaction you want from the crowd by how she works. Like she has them in the palm of her hand, and that match is a masterpiece. And Bayley, I mean, like Pam's like she's interesting, but to me, she's a good worker. She's ill-served a little bit by how WWE works in the way, because as her knees have gotten more shot, right, which happens, the style that they work doesn't really fit her as well. So she can work, but not as well as she could. I almost really kind of want her to leave WWE at some point, because I would like her to see
it would be interesting.
with matches differently agented, right?
Oh.
So I could see her work a different style, because I still think she can work. I think it's just like the style there. But like the point being that Bayley was a key to this, right?
Yeah.
Asuka's another one that's key, but it was really, they decided, because again, like WWE kind of preferred Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
For reasons.
Yeah.
The big tall blonde, like why is Vince picking the big tall blonde? I don't know. But the women here are extremely good workers, and they're deserving. I feel like, again, the pet peeve at the time is like, why wasn't Bayley there? But fine. I mean, they kept her on the, and there are other reasons. I mean, like at the time they were using the network as a driver, and NXT was the driver for the network on the TV deal. So having big stars or people who were draws in NXT was useful. So keeping Bayley in NXT made some sense from a business perspective, right? As a draw.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
But you hear her, and then and sure, and I get that, but like even now, like when she talked about it recently, and it still hurts her to this day, which understandably so. She absolutely should have been in this match.
And then of course,
if you have Mercedes, sorry, go ahead.
And then we get to the point. Well, then we get to the point where even last year they were kind of still screwing her around with the whole business at WrestleMania.
Yes, well,
even
that, and then they they continue to, because even just the story that they were started kind of at the end of last year, where she was like torn between being Hugger Bayley and Heel Bayley, and it was like we were watching these really weird vignettes and we didn't know where it was going, and then we kind of brought it on TV but have kind of dropped it, and she's basically like, I don't know, it's very unfortunate the way that Bayley is there, and I hope as soon as her contract comes up, and I know that there's probably all kinds of reasons, and she's been there for a really long time, but I honestly just hope she has the courage to leave and try something else and see what else is out there for her, because I think you're right. I think that she can work a different style, and she can go see what else is out there, and it's not like she can't come back if she absolutely wants to retire as a WWE superstar to get inducted into the Hall of Fame or whatever. She absolutely can. But I would love her to see her leave
Yeah,
I
she
think
has
would
so
be
many
so
options to her.
she would be
Yeah.
so over in Arena Mexico. She would
Oh.
be like
Oh my
Yeah.
she
gosh.
would be nuclear over in Arena
Yes.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people
Oh
don't
my
know
God.
because like they love WWE. Like they do watch a lot, and like she would be like just a massive star.
That's
like,
why
it'd be
Claudio is so over in the building.
It's like I always remember like people don't understand the Paige thing when they brought it to AEW. And I remember I went to the pay per view where she debuted for AEW. And, like she's having the match, and there's so many people in the crowd dressed like girls dressed like Paige, and I would feel like it would be the same thing if she got to go to Arena Mexico.
Yeah,
And,
probably.
they would just be all over. They would love that. And
Yeah.
and again, as I said, like I think that I would. For her, I mean, I do want her to have the opportunity to work these different arenas and get the love and get the ability to work these different styles, which is I think would be a better fit for her. Because I do think my impression of her has always been she is better than what she's being asked to do. And
Yes.
they don't
Oh,
really know
100%.
how to properly use her, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And you know, we are talking WrestleMania 32.
Mhm.
Jeez Louise, this was 10 years ago.
I would say don't say how long ago it was, man, because
This was we're coming on the 10-year anniversary of this match, and you know we're gonna get right to it. And
there's so
let me just
many.
put
There's so many bad. I don't even want to talk about the rest of this card because there's so many bad things. There's so much bad booking in this card that I don't want to.
Yeah. The less said
I
about one Mr. P-Man and John Moxley, the better. So
Yes.
I'm gonna put a pin in that right there.
私みここ
Okay, you know, and we are about to start the match. This is going to be from WrestleMania 32, live from Dallas, Texas, from the Jerry Dome. We have Sasha Banks versus Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch for the WWE Women's Championship. And Matt, you know what to do.
Yep. All right. If you're watching on the YouTube, because we're going to provide a link to the YouTube match in the description because it is on WWE's YouTube, by the way. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This was such a better song.
I haven't listened to this in a while. Are they watching this now?
Man.
There we go.
Steampunk Becky.
Yeah, this is Becky pre
The
Oh,
man.
for the man.
Pre-broken nose.
She's not doing the Irish line dance.
Oh, the Irish last kicker.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
What do they call it? The river dancing.
The jig. The Irish jig.
There she is.
Lita. I don't remember. Is Becky heel or face here?
I think she was a face
Hey.
when she was Steampunk Becky, right?
Yeah,
Steampunk
she was a
Becky
face here.
face.
Yeah, okay.
until
She was
this-
I remember her as a heel.
SummerSlam this year, I think the SummerSlam she turned on Charlotte, and it's supposed to be everyone was going to boo her, and then they're like, "No, that's Becky, great,
okay.
great."
Oh, I remember this. Yeah, she's face, and I think Charlotte they're trying as a face, but she isn't. And I think Sasha's the heel. This is a weird alignment match, man. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, this is where well, you'll see. Because I watched the first few minutes of this last night.
Yeah.
And you'll.
This
It's
is when
kind of
Snoop
funny,
Dogg
though.
does the.
And this poor girl who probably couldn't hear herself was a little on the
Oh
off.
god, yeah, I
Little
remember this
pitchy dog.
now.
Probably because she couldn't hear herself.
Little bitchy dog, yeah. No, so she. Oh God.
Yeah, and then
So,
he
wait,
says
wait.
like there's a line where he talks about Sasha being his cousin.
So, okay, so they are presenting her as a face here. I just. God.
Yeah.
It's
No,
so
I
weird
think
because
Charlotte. I think Charlotte might be the heel in this match. Or
Yeah.
they tried to present her that way.
Because she comes out with her father, and
Right.
he
Yeah.
does some things in this match. There's one spot with him that makes me uncomfortable to see all the time.
Ric
But
Flair being uncomfortable with women? You don't say.
oof.
Oh yeah, Ric Flair being a creep around women. Yeah.
not
It's
Ric
boss
Flair.
time.
Yeah, and she's got the Eddie Guerrero inspired
Yeah,
stuff
Eddie
on.
Guerrero, yeah.
Because if you haven't heard, Eddie Guerrero inspired her to become a wrestler.
God.
I don't know if this has ever been told before, but
Oh, yeah.
Wow, really?
Man,
I did not know that.
wow, we're learning things here today. These little.
Sasha and Eddie? Oh my God.
yeah, who would have ever
Hey,
thought?
Eddie can.
Is that why
Hey.
she does the Three
Randomly?
Amigos?
Apparently so.
Yeah. Oh God.
Man, she had such the star appeal here. There's 100,000 fans out here, and she's acting like she's always been there. I love Mercedes.
The only people in the world who don't think she's the biggest star in female of all the women is the WWE booking room. That's the only people in the world.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, sweet Brucey did not know what to fucking do with it.
Just let her do whatever the hell she wants. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean,
Well, that's what she did in the end. That's what she has to do. Bet on herself. And, well, what?
Oh God, and I forgot.
God,
that-
JBL commentary.
Yeah,
No.
JBL, and Michael Cole, and Byron Saxton are on this call.
Oh, God.
at least it could be worse. The King could be on the call.
Booker T, yeah.
No, the King. I said the King, not Booker
Oh,
T.
I didn't hear the King. I just
Oh.
heard Booker T because
No.
between him and Vic Joseph, good lord.
A little bit on this robe. It's very similar to the robe that Ric Flair wore at WrestleMania 28.
Didn't he have the blue robe at Starrcade? Why do I think he had the blue robe at Starrcade? Hold on.
Yeah,
I'm
the
gonna look
baby
this
blue
up.
one in the first Starrcade with Harley Race, he did.
Yeah, I think he had he had the blue robe. The blue robe at Starrcade. I'm old, guys. I'm old.
When you're talking about the Nature Boy, you have to go back all the way.
My God, you're recreating a drunk cameo appearance from Ric Flair?
Yeah, he had the baby blue robe with the this is a play on the Starrcade 1 robe because it also had the little wings too.
Yeah, that makes sense actually because it's like the first big mania
Right.
for Charlotte. So.
Like I know people like hate triple threats like as a thing, but this felt big. Okay, this felt big. The Divas belt. My niece at the time, she was like 7. She loved that belt. So we bought it for her for Christmas one time.
I'm shocked to this day that they haven't bought the Divas belt back at some point in some way. Shape,
I mean,
or form.
Well, New Japan did for like 5 years.
God.
Oh, that's good.
wow.
Wow.
The V4. Okada took it home, gave it to Okada
We're
took
talking
that
about
belt
the
home and gave it
V5.
to his wife.
I'm talking about the V5 belt, man. The IWGP World Belt that no longer exists. Here we go. Oop,
And I think this is one of the first times they did the everyone gets in the ring first before Lillian does the introduction.
yeah.
Yeah, somebody
For the
had
women.
that's fine, so it must have been right after the last kicker. Because see, it's right there. While they put it down.
Yeah, that was not a comfortable piece of merch, I think, for men to wear.
No.
I also believe that.
Go ahead, go
sorry, man. Charlotte had broken the record set by Nikki Bella for holding the women's title. By the time she lost the WWE women's title.
It is interesting to remember that Sasha is 24 here.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, she's the youngest by far in this match.
They're all in their 20s. Well, no. Charlotte would be in her 30s. You know, that doesn't matter.
No, she was
Ageism.
in their 20s. They were all in their 20s. So the point I was making is
Yeah.
Sasha is just way younger than people kind of expect, right?
Yeah.
She's been
Yeah.
around forever, but no, she's still like younger than Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
Oh, good job.
Big schoolboy.
You know, I forgot how
Drop
bad this
toe.
gear was, and I wish I could. I'm talking about the Becky one. And I'm like,
I was gonna say I knew exactly which gear you were talking about.
but I'm like, you know, I have this theory that Becky and Seth are always wearing JoJo cosplay, right?
Yeah. They definitely they
So you have
definitely
to
are
interpret it.
Rocky
It's all-
fans.
It's like, are they dressing like? Yes, they are dressing like JoJo. Like, yes.
Yeah, JoJo cosplay with extra weird gimmick like the big boot.
Yes.
Love
God,
that
those look bad. Jesus Christ.
yeah. Love that Seiya Sonata got into those boots also. Big boot by
because he's all about vibes now. He doesn't care about the wrestling. He's just there for vibes and to wear the most ridiculous thing he can.
Hurricane Rana. That was so smooth. My goodness. And you know, the fans are they're loving this action.
Oh yeah.
It take like usually like in these big crowds, like sometimes like there's a lull, but the fans wanted to see this.
They did a really
Sunset
good job with
flip.
the build on this one.
I mean, given also what it's following in that card,
Yeah.
it's a decent spot. This is after the Dean and the late
Dean
and
Ambrose
Brock
no
Lesnar.
longer exists. Dean
gosh,
Ambrose
yeah,
can no
no
longer
wonder.
hurt us.
I forgot that's what that followed.
Oh yeah, and you know what's after this? God, it's the Taker versus Shane McMahon in the Hell in a Cell match.
Oh,
Oh God.
Oh
God.
God. And
We
then
ever
and then it's
Boom.
Baron Corbin versus Kane.
Oh,
Good
God.
lord.
Jesus.
Gotta
Man.
love that.
That was
Oh.
I forgot that was a
Here
match.
we
WrestleMania.
go.
Like,
Boom.
There,
Oh, wow.
honestly, live. There's no chance you thought anything coming after this was gonna be better than this match.
Right. Easily a main event match.
So,
This is
the way that Mercedes sells with the ragdolling, she always gets
Yeah.
such sympathy.
So good at that.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, if we ever do worst matches for Deathmatch Royalty, that Hell in a Cell with Taker and Shane's gonna be right.
oh
Oh
god.
god. No man, we I'm just gonna make a little bit of thing. You know,
Now,
we
see-
did something called bizarre wrestling, and I prefer that, man. Let's keep it bizarre.
Now,
Yeah.
so if we're gonna do like a worst of WWE, we gotta do that
Oof.
Royal Rumble where the final four is like Bad Bunny, Brock Lesnar, Shane, God, who else is on that one? Like that one. Jesus Christ, that
Yeah.
match is so bad.
Man. It's funny to see how much bigger of a star Benito became since then.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Razor's
Oh,
Edge. Oh,
No.
Derailer from A Train. You know, Matt Bloom at the time was the head trainer
I'm gonna say
at the.
I'm gonna say that you can
Golden
noticeably see that Becky's a better worker than. Well, I think it's like she's more mobile then than she is now, right? So I do think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
like yeah.
Yeah, I mean, injuries catch up with you, man.
Yeah, I think she still does a really good job. I just think that
Yeah.
like, you can kind of tell she's a lot more flexible.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah. And now we get
As-
the Becky that does really weird promos.
Yeah, as we all were in our 20s, you know, more flexible, more pliable. Whoa. Nice working on the leg, you know, setting up her figure eight. She's going right for it. Sasha's always like a nice ball of fire. You know, she's a underrated. She doesn't work face for too long, but when she does, she's a ball of fire, Sasha.
Well, I mean, given how good she is at selling,
Ooh.
I mean, essentially, like, if you look at all the best of Charlotte, it's all going to be like her ragdolling Sasha.
Yeah.
Like her
Yeah.
working heel and Sasha working face, and Sasha selling her butt off for her, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
2 count,
And then-
disarmer.
Wait, and that one Sasha, sorry, that one Rhea Ripley Charlotte match was really good.
Yeah,
Full
you
credit.
know, when I was
Oh,
there
the
live for
one
that
in
one.
LA?
That was awesome. Ric Flair
Oh.
on the
I
apron.
respect that. I respect that they beat the crap out of each other in that match.
Yeah.
Becky
Good
with
limb work. Good limb work so far. Yeah.
it's not quite a disarmer, but it's a pretty good armbar. It's the same kind of armbar that Mitsuharu Misawa would use sometimes in his matches.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm tying the 4 pillars to this. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
4 pillars, 4 horsemen. You know what it is. 4 horsewomen. You know what it is.
There.
Hey.
I mean, they just keep tossing Sasha like right in that same spot.
Yeah.
It's like the 3rd time in a
Ooh,
row.
that's pretty good.
And she's going for the
Figure eight
figure 8
time,
one more
baby.
time.
I mean, Rick is still in the air where he could probably still kind of help on the side, on the outside. So yeah, it makes sense to toss him in that direction. But he's going to be there.
That's not quite the figure 8 because
Oh!
frog splash like her
Oh, there you
idol
go.
Eddie Guerrero. Did you guys know that Eddie Guerrero is the reason she wrestles?
I have
Wow.
not heard that. That is brand new information.
Wow. and contrary to like Eddie's son Dom, who does a 2.5 star flock, that one was like 5 stars. That's pretty good.
Only
That's
2 and a
pretty damn
half?
good.
Yeah, 2.5 is like I call the Dom one a 2.5
How,
star flock.
how dare you insult the endorser of dude wipes?
There
Dirty
you
Thomas
go.
dude.
Man, you know, nothing says manly like having an ass that smells like Axe body spray.
On dude wipes to begin with?
Oh, Meteora! A German suplex.
Oh.
No, she's reversing. Oh no, there she is. That's what happens, Sasha, when you're too small.
I
They'll
will
just
say
toss
this.
you.
around.
I
I love
am
it.
going to be a bit disappointed when they do inevitably break
Ooh.
up the Alexa Charlotte team because I think that's actually been doing quite well.
For them,
Yeah, it has.
You know, 1, 2, manhandle slam. What's what they call that now? But Sam, I gotta tell you, your loves that you write for like your weekly loves,
Uh-huh.
I love it. Just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, it's funny because I do try. I mean, I try to balance it out. There are probably more hateds that I cover for that column than loves. They got me the other day. I didn't even. It wasn't on purpose, but it's a column that they run on after Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown. It was like the 3 things we love and the 3 things we hated from that episode. And oftentimes it's very hard to find 3 things that we loved about Raw or SmackDown. Sometimes we have to do I liked it okay. But yeah, the other I was doing one 2 weeks ago, and it was about about the SmackDown Women's Division, which is a mess for the most part. But it was supposed to be loved because they fit 11 women across 3 matches. Except for I kind of forgot what I was writing about and added in some of the negative things, and my editor was like, "Sam, you know, this is supposed to be
Tope
a
con
love,
hilo.
right?" And so the hateration came out. I was like, "Sorry," so I had to go fix it.
Hey, that's sometimes it'll just come out.
It did. I was like, "Ooh, I did not even realize this came out."
That was crazy. She
was
transformed that botched Tope into a Tope con hilo like last second to save herself. That's an insane amount of body control to do that.
You know what? I'm gonna give Sasha some. Sorry, Charlotte.
Oh yeah, that might be the spot of the night of Becky taking out Ric Flair.
Yeah, the fans loving it.
To me, that's revenge for the Royal Rumble bit.
Charlotte being able to catch her and make sure that she guided her into not falling on her head.
Charlotte is actually a really good base, but a little bit like Cesaro when he was like an extremely good base in WWE. WWE doesn't know how to use a good base. So like that part of her game is really lost. Like I feel like Charlotte could have like a really good match with like Riho. It would kind of rock, right?
Oh, that would be
like because like Riho would bump like hell for her, and the image of Charlotte just tossing her around and Riho flipping around her would be kind of insane. It would be kind of good, right? The dynamics of that match would be great, right?
Yeah, now I kind of want that.
We are gonna see the corkscrew moonsault. And they caught her.
Sadly, I think that Andrade might have won AEW in the divorce. So
Yeah, I think you're right. I
Yeah.
think you're right. As long as
I
he can
do-
stay on his best behavior, he doesn't try to fight any of his coworkers, he'll be good.
Yeah. I want to say
He's
that
like-
Sasha and Becky caught her pretty well on that moonsault.
Yeah, they did.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
And because look at the way Sasha like flipped herself over after they caught her.
I mean, the worst worker in this match is 2016 Becky. And 2016 Becky is a perfectly good worker.
She's pretty darn good, man.
And again, I think
Um,
Charlotte is underrated as a worker.
Yeah.
mine felt mine. He screams above.
There we go. Double natural selection. 1, 2. When I was watching this like 10 years ago, I thought that was the finish. I'm not sure why.
You would
I
think.
really bit on that because I was like, oh, it's done now. But like, I didn't want this match to end because it was like,
It was the best match on the well. The only match on this card that was even close to this one is the Jericho Styles match.
Oh right.
Because again, Styles at the time was the best worker in the world.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
and Jericho was still mobile. So yes.
maybe we see them again someday. You know, you never know.
Well,
The
Jericho can't leave.
Y2AJ, maybe they could get in on the Y2AJ copyright.
I will swap Jericho and let him go back to WWE and for AJ.
Is that another trade like Ciampa and Hobbs that
Keys.
makes AEW younger?
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah. I guess.
that's a big amount of strength from. Whoa!
Oh,
Wow.
they just did like a big bump in the middle of the ring. That's like, yeah,
That was cool.
They really did not see Becky as anything in this match. It's
No.
important to kind of
Disarm
like
her.
she really was 4 in the depth chart at this point.
Yeah.
And all it took was Nia Jax's elbowing her.
Well, I mean, I think the thing that people like even before that they tried to do the whole thing where she goes heel on Charlotte on
Yes.
the SmackDown crowd, and SmackDown at the time was like a really smarty show because like it's the AJ show and it had Dean and it had all the good workers
Backstabber.
on that show, and that crowd that was not having a Charlotte as Charlotte's the face and Becky is the heel there. They were
Yeah,
like,
because
no.
they tried doing that with the cutting edge segment, I think, not long after the turn as well, and they're like,
Crucifix
Becky
rolled
say-
into the bank
they cheered
statement.
Becky going, don't hurt your neck going through the rope. But
It reminds me a little bit
Figure
like when Sasha came back for that Natty segment, and like it's the Natty after her dad dies, and then Sasha beats her up, and you're supposed to like boo her, and the crowd was like, no. Kudos to both of them because they sold the hell out of that. But like the crowd was like,
There we go.
No.
There's the full figure 8. But Sasha, no. Becky won't let her tap.
yeah, that's a good spot, man.
and of course, as expected with something like Natalia doing that change of character to Natty, WWE have taken something that was pretty cool for about 5 minutes and turned it terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew as soon as I saw the first vignette, I was like, oh, they're about to ruin this Natty stuff. Because the low-key legend stuff that she was doing on the indies and I guess NWA, I think. I was like, it was really cool to see
Do
something
we really
different.
count,
from her.
do we count NWA though? Really?
I probably not.
They're trying
Like,
to make
seeing Natty and Bloodsport was really freaking cool. And then
Yeah.
WWE got their hands on it, and it did exactly what I
Decided
thought.
to make
She
know what?
has that Phantom NWA title match that nobody will ever see.
I do think that having her, if she ever, and that's never gonna happen, but having her go and do the Calgary train, like Hard Dungeon train kind of gimmick outside would kind of be interesting, because we are coming off watching a bunch of dungeon trained people do like some really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd be really interested to see her working with like actual good workers.
Me
and good,
too. Like, and I
good-
knew, like you said, like she's never going to leave WWE. But if she even had like a year run in AEW,
Yeah, I
Could
think
be.
one thing.
even I mean, you could even send her to Stardom, of course, or like just anywhere. Just letting her do the dungeon stuff elsewhere, I think would be really
I'm
incredible for her.
I'm gonna give credit to the agent for this match, because I'm assuming it's probably gonna be Finley at this time, either Finley or Dusty. In that this match as a three-way doesn't annoy me because it's not a Heyman special. They're not all doing just pop finishers. They are
Right.
working like an interesting kind of layout, and it's not as limited as the layouts that we currently have with WWE women, which I think is one of the giant problems that they have.
Oh,
Is they're
Yeah.
always
where are they
working.
going here?
They're always working with like a very short, like runway for layouts.
Ooh.
But this is a really interesting layout, I think.
Tree of
Yeah.
Woe. That's an entering spot. Bexploder off the toe. Bexploder. It's your time, Becky. You could get the pit. No.
Oh, Charlotte's gonna roll on out. Like,
Sasha
you're
in
gonna
the
pin
Tree
me?
of Woe.
Charlotte was smart. She rolled to the floor trying to avoid the pinfall, but that may take her out of another chance for a pinning combination.
And people forget that Becky had a Stardom run too. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Backstabber into the bank statement.
Oh, no,
And
here
of
comes
course,
Charlotte.
Shimmer.
Of course.
Oh.
Long run in Shimmer.
Oh, wow.
It's weird though, with Shimmer though, the only thing I end up doing Shimmer when it comes to Becky's running Shimmer, of course, is quoting the Allison Danger promo. You see me
Ric Flair is
now.
grabbing
Rick kept
Sasha,
Sasha from getting in the ring.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's right. Rick kept Sasha from breaking up the pin so that Charlotte could become the first women's champion.
The first of how many now is it? How many title reigns does she have now? 9, 10?
Yeah, everyone thought that she was going to break that record, and no, she's not going to break that record. I don't think she is.
I mean, I think she should.
She should.
I think she should
She
for
might
many
do-
reasons, but will she? Probably not. But
Yeah, I don't think. I think they're not going. I don't think they see her as top of the card anymore. And rightly
I
or
mean-
wrongly, I don't think they see her that way.
I don't think they're gonna. I mean, she probably makes
I mean,
it
I
to
think having
16,
a
but she's not
woman
gonna be the
Fast
never seen
and Furious would be
17.
Incredible, though.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with that.
This was an incredible match, not just for the time, but like just in general. You could have this match now, like on a Dynamite or
Yeah,
like
I
a
was gonna say,
Raw,
this match still definitely
and
holds up for sure.
it would be like one of the top matches of the year. Like honestly, this was fun. This has worked well. This has worked stiff. This has worked snug. This they took risk in here. It wasn't your formulaic triple threat, and I absolutely love that match.
Yeah, they as I said, they're not working this layout right now in WWE for like three ways, right? This is a very
Right.
interesting. There's a lot how going. As I said, like it reminded me a lot more of like a Stardom three way than like I mean, particularly that 3-0 spot there, where like they're doing that and they're doing the finishes, and one gets caught up and one goes outside, and there's a lot of dynamism in that finish, and even the small interference with Rick. It's a very subtle interference, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's not even that much. It's just a valet just doesn't let the other person like clear and interfere with the pin, right? So it's not even that heelish. But it's a really, as I said, it's a really interesting and different thing to go back. I think this is a better layout than what they do now, right? Which is kind of funny. Like this is 10 years ago.
And like you said, it's also probably because it was either Fit Finley or Dusty Rhodes. So
Yeah, Fit or
Yeah.
Dusty.
it's not, Road Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, like it's possible, like, but no, I mean, it feels more like a fit, or like probably with some input from like Sasha, probably too, and Becky, right? So
Yeah, right.
because again, like that spot, that Trio Woe spot, made me think more of a Stardom finish, because again, it's like that the Trio Woe, then like they do the finisher, one rolls out, and there's like small interference from the Valley on the outside, very Joshi finish, really,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. I mean, like I think it's cool. And as like I was saying, like there's a lot of flying in that match. There's not a lot. There's a lot of three women work, which I think is kind of interesting. Which I like. The thing I hate with some of these three ways now, it's very much like throw one guy out and then start spamming finishers, and like one gets a finisher, gets knocked outside. And there was some of that, like as they were doing the spot, but there was a lot of effort put into doing three-person spots, right? Which
Right.
makes
Yeah.
it like a much
Yeah.
more interesting match, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of this kind of match, but there was definitely a match that this was a notebook for me, right? And I'm typically low man on three mans or four mans. I'm like, but this was they used the format really well, is what
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And this of course, this is going to be a tentpole match for women's wrestling. This is going to be a tentpole match for wrestling in over the decade, and I like I said, I loved it, man. Yeah, Sam, as a woman watching this and seeing it play out, and going back and seeing it play out, and seeing where the women are now, how do you feel about things? I'm not good at orating right now.
Do you mean things like now?
How things are going
Or
now? Yeah.
like how we've gone or how
Where have we gone since this match? Like,
it's in WWE, it has been up and down. Like that match was one of these matches where they let you believe like that women's wrestling was important to them. And they did follow through with it some, and then we've had the two women's main event matches that have had at WrestleMania. It happened because especially between Sasha and Bianca, like the fans had to beg them to let us have those main event matches. And I said it sort of tongue in cheek, but I kind of mean it, that at this rate, I feel like we'll get another evolution before we get another women main eventing WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
and
rough.
so it's hard because like there is like the tag team, like they're finally focusing on, like we know the history of those women's tag team belts have been really bad, and those belts have like just not really meant anything in WWE. And so now it's cool to kind of see, like for the last few months, around the same time that AEW was just a few weeks before AEW started their tournament for the women's tag team, WWE started focusing on the women's tag team again.
Nice.
It's really great, but then everything else has fallen by the wayside. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Like some of them are very much like here damn matches and feuds, and especially you can look at that with the, like I knew as soon as they announced the women's US title and the women's IC title, I was like, they can't even book the men's mid-card titles. They're not going to be able to book these, and they have proven me right so far.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's really unfortunate. Like we just had, like this is one of my biggest complaints has been Jade Cargill didn't defend her title until last Friday. She had that title for over 100 days before they had her defend it, and she was supposed to defend it in early January, and then Mishin got hurt on the holiday tour, and I was like, so you mean that's your biggest prize for women's wrestling on SmackDown, and not one other woman wants to compete for it? Like, what are you? What does that tell you about your
They
title?
wanted to fight for the U.S. title.
There are other.
They wanted the U.S. title.
My running joke with it is like, Triple H can't be in the building when the black talent beats like pins
Right.
the person. So we
Yo.
have that.
I mean, he's the one who says he can't see color. So
Well, no, but it's
Yeah.
funny that that like
Yeah.
he wasn't when Jade won, he wasn't in the building, right? He was very like they said that he wasn't at that pay-per-view. But the point, I mean, I think that what I will say is I think that now we have a much broader scope of talent and an actual deep bench, but they don't treat it like they don't spend the character time to build the characters.
No.
They don't treat it as an attraction. They treat it actually they don't treat it as a main event thing. They treat it more like as an attraction, lower card thing right now, really. And it's I think that, and we're going to talk about the other company. I do think that in terms of in general, I think women's wrestling in the U.S. is in a much better spot than it's been ever. But it's not because of WWE.
no,
Because I think that
No.
but I mean, like I think WWE broke the door down, but I think now if you're looking for like fully developed, fleshed out characters that are draws, I mean, we're gonna talk about a woman who I think is one of the biggest draws in the history. Like, she's incredible. We're gonna talk about her in a little bit, and because she comes down the building and the crowd reacts to her like she's Hulk Hogan, right?
Right.
And it's a fully developed character. It's not treated as a caricature, even if it is some comedy. And actually, it is kind of interesting because they do give her the space to do the things that she wants to do creatively and get over. And we have real stakes, real violence. It's not angles about boyfriends. It's not arguing. It's stories about the women and working with other women, and they're treated like main event players, and they're treated like draws, right?
Yes.
And I think that's really important and really good. I think that like there was a potential there in WWE. I do think the issue is that booking room and that creative that they have is never going to be somewhere where the women or men of color can thrive, right? Because they have a very limited vision of the world or what they want.
Yeah.
And I think they're regressing to what they want is they want the sex object on top, and I say that politely, but that's really they have a very specific vision of what they want on top. This is WWE, right? They want and they're more into that like scandal divas thing where like it's not really about the wrestling, it's about the kind of the scandal or the kind of the appearance. And I think that again, I think that like but I do appreciate that now we have a company that treats them and hell, it lets women like run creative. It lets them run the angles that they want. It gives them a great degree of freedom. There's a broad spectrum of match types that they can work. And I think I'll make the example where like I'll make the example with like two wrestlers who were like linked together in Japan, like so Tekla and Julia, right? Who work similar styles. They're brawlers. There's a very specific style of match. They're much more like Moxley in terms of how they work. We talked about Dean Ambrose being dead, and they're coming in, and they went to two companies. And Julia, who I've had Julia in my match of the year, right, when I voted for that, and
love that match with Tam.
She is just, but no, I'm talking about the one with Suri, the Suri match, which
match.
It's great because that match is so good, and she can't work that match in WWE because WWE is not going to let her work that match.
And then that's how they fumbled her because, like, there's no way that somebody of Julia's caliber should be doing the things that she's doing and be where people do not care about her.
They're not going to present her as a badass, which is like, whereas Tekla comes in, she's perfect for, and like, and AEW just lets her be who she is, right, and presents her. And she's over, and like I've had this argument with like Joshi fans who are like, no, she's not as good as like, but like she's like, I understand she's not as good as a worker as some of the Joshi workers, but they're going to let her work what she wants, and she's great at presentation, and she's great at talking, has a great image, and you can basically, I can get this person and draw money with her on TV. I can have decent matches with her, and she can draw money. And again, it's about letting these workers and the women work different styles,
right?
And I'll raise like my favorite match. Women's match of not this year but last year was from the Sarayism. There's a 4-way she worked. Saray, I think it's Tam, Vaney, and is it Chi-Chi's the other? I forget who. Like
Chi-Chi, the
and
Barbie
they're
girl.
Working, and what I like about that match is the women in that match are all working different styles, right? One is working like Brody, one is working like a brawler, one is working like a technical master, and then Saray is working a little bit more like Moxley. And the women in that match have the ability to work these different styles together. And where I'm hoping everything goes is that, like, I want, what we're seeing in AEW, I want the ability of them to go out. They want to have a bloodbath match, they can have that. They want to have a highly technical match, they can have that. Mm-hmm. And we have variety so that we can have more, because that expands the ability of different women to come up and be stars, right? They got to be able to work the styles, right? They got to be able to present that. And that's really where we want to get to, where like it's not just. I joke that all the women in WWE work like Norman Smiley, right? Who's the trainer? like if you ever seen Norman Smiley does the thing where like he used to do the thing with his head with the back leg kick, which all the women in WWE do. Now that I've told you, you'll see it every time. Where like they grab the ropes and they put the head in and they kick with the leg to the back and do that is a Norman Smiley move. And I'm like, which is fine, but not every woman.
Not everybody.
Work. Right. Not everyone should work like that. So that's kind of what I'm hoping as we're going down like 5 years down the line is we can have more women working matches like the one that we're going to watch is the Hollywood ending, right? Which is I want them to be able to work like these different matches in different styles because long term, that's what will continue to get them over.
Well, and when you were saying that Tekla, like they were saying that, she wasn't one of the best Stardom wrestlers, but, in AEW, she really stands out because of her style and her personality. And, like, one of the things, like, I never really thought about it, but, like, so when I was at Blood and Guts and I was not far from the ramp when they were first coming down, and I didn't realize how tiny Tekla is. Because she has such this bigger than life personality, and she's so charismatic, and just you think she's 6 foot tall, but like you see her and she's like, as Garrett said that he reminds her of him of Lady Gaga, which you absolutely can see that. And I was like, but I didn't realize like how small she is. And then I was like, it's just because her her personality and the way she carries herself, you think that she is just this huge, like she's bigger than Lena Cross. Like she's
Yeah.
just really the
Yeah.
way she carries herself. And so like, I'm glad that they have found a way to let her just be herself, because Tekla definitely adds something different to the women's division, which I really enjoy.
Yeah. And I want to thank all of you for coming here and just having this great conversation on women's wrestling. We are celebrating 10 years of this match from WrestleMania 32. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. Yeah. One hell of a card. One hell of a match. And, if anybody wanted to catch you, Sam, where can they see you at?
You can find me, Wrestling Inc. is where you can find me writing. I help out with Raw and SmackDown coverage, and then Saturdays I do live coverage of Collision. So if you miss Collision and you need a recap, I've got you covered. And then you can find me every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Fight Game Media YouTube. My show is Power Bombshells with my co-host Mel. We're typically live on Sundays. When there's AEW pay-per-views on Saturdays, we are live before those, but you can check us out for the most part Sundays at 1 o'clock Eastern.
Oh, yeah. Yes, and Matt, I know you're on the Harvest Podcast Network. What do you have cooking for us, bro?
Well, Deathmatch Royalty's it's been great to do because we've had people like Phil Schneider on. We've had Troubles Wrestling. We've had him on a few times.
Had Arturo on.
Arturo for helping us get into the world of Puerto Rico. And we're only just getting started. I mean, for something that has been around for just a little short while, we've got some things cooking. I can't say anything about some of the stuff, but we got some things cooking up that I know people are going to like.
Yeah. Of course, you can catch me and Arturo. I know I'm plugging my own show on my own channel, but that's what I do. You can catch us on our own show, State of Wrestling, one of the best pro wrestling news podcasts out there. We also have our unofficial third member, whatever he decides to do. BJ Bethel, he's always with us sometimes. But yeah, this is The Prescription. This is SMES. Thank you guys so much, and please take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Love each other. Be good to each other. See you next time.